It's been 30 years since Bewitched star Elizabeth Montgomery passed away, but the world still can't stop talking about her. Stories of secret loves and a life carefully hidden from the spotlight have followed her for decades. Now, after years of silence, her children are finally speaking out, and what they've revealed has left fans wondering, how much of what we heard was rumor, and how much was the truth? There are certain faces on television that never fade, no matter how many years pass. For millions of viewers, Elizabeth Montgomery will always be one of them, the beautiful blonde who played Samantha Stevens on Bewitched. With just a twitch of her nose, she turned everyday troubles into moments of joy, charming audiences week after week. When the show first aired in 1964, television was still a safe, predictable world of polite families and perfect housewives. Then came Bewitched, and everything changed. The series wasn't just about spells or clever comedy. It was about Elizabeth herself. She was funny, intelligent, and radiant. As Samantha, she brought warmth, humor, and a spark that made people believe in magic. She didn't just act the part, she became it. Her easy charm and wit made her one of the most beloved women on television. Samantha wasn't weak or simple, she was confident, clever, and often the one who fixed everything when her husband couldn't. In many ways, she was one of TV's first strong female characters. Elizabeth never set out to be a symbol of women's empowerment. She simply wanted to be honest in her work. But in doing so, she showed the world that women could be strong without losing kindness, and powerful without raising their voices. By the end of its first season, Bewitched was among the highest-rated shows in the country. Elizabeth earned 9 Emmy nominations during her career, 4 of them for Bewitched alone, and critics praised her for making magic feel real without special effects. But the magic that lit up the screen didn't come from an easy life. Behind her success was a childhood filled with pressure and shadows. Elizabeth was born into fame. Her father, Robert Montgomery, was a major film star of the 1930s and 1940s, and her mother, Elizabeth Bryan Allen, was also an actress. From the outside, it looked like a fairy tale childhood, but behind the gates of their Hollywood home, life was much more complicated. Her father was strict and distant, obsessed with perfection and appearances. He demanded discipline, and Elizabeth often felt she could never please him. She longed for his approval but mostly received criticism. Acting became her escape, the one place where she could finally be herself. After studying in New York, she began to earn small television roles on her own, determined to prove she didn't need her father's name to succeed. By the time Bewitched came along, she had already built a reputation as a serious actress. When she became Samantha Stevens, the world saw her differently. She wasn't Robert Montgomery's daughter anymore, she was a star. Yet, even with fame, she never forgot her childhood struggles. She often said she wanted her kids to grow up with freedom, affection, and laughter, everything she had missed. Her personal life, however, was often as complicated as her childhood. Elizabeth married 4 times, each love story filled with hope and heartbreak. Her first marriage to Frederick Gallatin Cameron ended after less than a year. She wanted adventure, he wanted tradition. Her second husband, actor Gig Young, struggled with alcohol and anger, turning their marriage into years of pain. Then came director William Asher, who not only created Bewitched with her but also gave her 3 children and a sense of stability, for a time. But even that union fell apart under the pressure of fame and infidelity. During the final seasons of Bewitched, Elizabeth began a relationship with director Richard Michaels. The affair ended both their marriages but didn't last long itself. Finally, she met actor Robert Foxworth. They lived together for nearly 2 decades before marrying in 1993. Friends said he brought her peace, laughter, and the happiness she had searched for all her life. Behind the scenes of Bewitched, however, things were rarely as light-hearted as they seemed. The show's magic came at a cost. Elizabeth loved playing Samantha, but the long hours and the constant attention wore her down. Her co-star, Dick York, struggled with severe back pain, and Elizabeth often helped him through the toughest days. When York left and was replaced by Dick Sargent, the chemistry changed, but Elizabeth continued giving everything she had to keep the show alive. Working with her husband, William Asher, added more tension as their marriage began to crumble. Crew members later recalled how she'd sometimes film scenes with tears in her eyes. Still, she remained kind to everyone on set. She was the heart of the show, professional, caring, and endlessly patient. Her friendship with Agnes Moorehead, who played Endora, became one of the strongest bonds of her life. By 1972, tired and ready to move on, Elizabeth ended the series after 8 successful seasons. Away from Hollywood, Elizabeth used her fame for something greater. She became a quiet but passionate activist. She supported civil rights, protested the Vietnam War, and spoke up for women's equality at a time when it wasn't popular to do so. In the 1980s, she stood up for people affected by AIDS when few others would. When her Bewitched co-star Dick Sargent came out as gay, Elizabeth proudly supported him and joined him at the Los Angeles Pride Parade in 1992. She worked with children's charities, recorded books for the blind, and lent her voice to political documentaries that challenged government secrecy, one of which even won an Oscar. Elizabeth never sought praise for her activism. She gave quietly, helped quietly, and lived by kindness rather than publicity. She once said that she didn't want to change the world, just make it a little better. In early 1995, Elizabeth began to feel unwell. What she thought was the flu turned out to be colon cancer, already too advanced for treatment. Doctors told her the truth, she had little time left. She chose to spend her final weeks at home in Beverly Hills, surrounded by family, her garden, and soft music. Even in pain, she kept her grace. She worried more about others than herself. On May 18, 1995, just 8 weeks after her diagnosis, she passed away peacefully in her sleep at 62. Her death stunned the world. Fans had no idea she was ill. At her memorial, friends shared stories, laughter, and love. Jazz great Herbie Hancock played a tribute, and her husband, Robert Foxworth, read letters from fans around the world. Her ashes were laid to rest at Westwood Village Memorial Park, among other Hollywood legends. But even after her passing, rumors continued to swirl. Some claimed she had been romantically linked to President John F. Kennedy, though no proof was ever found. Others suggested she battled depression or lived a double life. Some even believed she practiced real witchcraft. Most of these stories were pure fantasy, Hollywood myths born from her mystery and allure. Her children, however, finally spoke out years later. To them, Elizabeth wasn't a legend, she was Mom. Her son Bill Asher described her as gentle, funny, and real. She made pancakes in the morning, helped with homework, and always had time to listen. Her daughter Rebecca remembered her as a woman who valued family over fame. Even at the height of her success, she stayed humble and grounded. Her children now make sure the world remembers her not just as Samantha, but as Elizabeth, the woman with kindness in her heart and courage in her soul. She wasn't perfect, but she was true, and that's what made her unforgettable. So, what do you think? Were the rumors a glimpse of something deeper, or just Hollywood tales that refuse to fade? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you enjoyed this story, click on the next video on your screen.